Hey everyone, Mark and Joey here on a Friday morning. End of the week, the start of the sports week has been stuff going on because Wimbledon's been insane. We've been watching it all week. But lots of other stuff, slows down, comes back on the weekend in the summertime especially. And we're going to talk about Wimbledon right now. I also want to mention to you, we're now not only on video podcasts through the sites that you may already know, we're also now audio podcasting. And rather than us repeat this every single show where we are, on our website, ultimatesportschannel.com, we now have a page that shows you all the links to everywhere we are. We love the audio site because it allows you to download if you'd like to watch it on your car on the way to work. Want to listen to it at home without disturbing the TV from the kids. You can now listen to us as well as watch the video podcast. Very exciting for us, Joe.
Yeah, we're real excited about it. We sometimes feel like our voices can even bring more enthusiasm than necessarily having to watch all the time. And like we said, you can download and listen to it anywhere, which is great. Instead of listening to music where you might listen to music, you can now listen to the show and catch up on all your sports, which has been crazy this summer so far. And it leads us into the craziest summer maybe ever in NBA history.
Yeah.
And it just continued again. And we heard about it yesterday, so we're going to report on it here. And that's Russell Westbrook finally being traded from OKC to Houston Rockets for Chris Paul. It was originally the first trade that was kind of brought up to the attention. People thought it might go to Miami, but here he is. And now, we're going to talk about Westbrook real quickly. Chris Paul will probably be traded too, by the way. There's no way they're keeping him. They just did this. They got 3 more picks.
Just wanted to move him, yeah.
They have like 12 first round picks in the next 3 to 5 years. It's absolutely insane. Their future's looking crazy bright. But where does Chris Paul go? That's a conversation we're going to have today, and we're also going to talk about Westbrook and what does it mean to a team I already thought could get through the West because of how much competition there is. And it's the only team that I didn't think was changing much. It changed, but I think for the better. So let's talk about Westbrook going to Houston first.
Well, I think the only issue we have is that Houston team has had some problems with being a team.
Yeah.
Playing together. They seem like they've always had the talent. So can a guy who's caused some of these problems fit into a system and not be the cause of challenges there? I don't think that their coaching and management's handled this well in the past, where they get talking, about the challenges they might have in the dressing room or on the court or whatever it might be. So now I'm worried about Westbrook going there because Westbrook is not a guy who just fits into a system. He's going to want the ball.
Right.
He's going to be, he's that ego. Now, what does that do to Houston really? We've seen teams where great players go and they can't win because it just disrupts too much.
Yeah, and it was a joke online saying, how is Houston going to play without 2 balls out there?
Yeah.
Each guy wants it. So, and there was a couple of photos of them wrestling over the ball at half court. Yeah, it's pretty funny. But here's a couple things I'll say. First of all, I think there's some... First of all, they actually play together. People don't know this. They played together way back when. Here's how... Where's OKC done? They had Kevin Durant, James Harden, and Westbrook. Now they have none of them, and they're all on other teams winning. Now, OKC's going to be like, well, we had a couple runs. They went to the finals with those 3. They did good with just Westbrook. Then they did good with Westbrook and George. And now they got all these picks, and their future's looking bright. But, man, they had all 3 at one point. The 2 of them are reuniting. I don't know what it was like back then, but back then, there was some controversy over who won the ball, who was a star, how are they going to get paid, stuff like that. So I'm not sure if that's going to fall to Houston. I'll say this. Maybe Westbrook wakes up and realizes his only chance to win a title is you got to share the ball.
Yeah.
Now, he averages triple-doubles. People forget this. But the fact is, the stat last year was when he takes 20 shots or less, the record was so much better than when he took more than 20 shots.
But that's like any star because he's getting covered so much. So
but also, he's the point guard. Right? He's a point guard, though, too, right? So, like, unlike a James Harden or I always like a Clay. Clay should shoot a lot because he's running open, right? Yeah. It's Steph who actually has the ball, and him shooting a lot's a problem because he dribbles the ball up so they build around Steph and defend him easier, right? Well, that's Westbrook, man. You're the point guard. You got to share the ball. 2 things. First of all, I always thought Houston would flourish better with a bunch of extra pieces around James Harden instead of an extra star. They believe in the 2-star system. I like it from the fact that maybe you can split time between the 2 and they can literally each play half the game and maybe get you to the promised land that way. Maybe they could figure it out because they're both kind of older in their careers now. I feel like they're both got to look at each other and go, guys,
that helps, yeah.
We've been proven we cannot win individually. Otherwise, we would have done it already. We need to work together on this.
That's a big part. Big part.
We'll
I agree with you 100%.
He's definitely more, real quick, he's definitely more talented than Chris Paul and younger. Yeah. So, what does that do?
Yeah, well, skill-wise, you've got to put them there. maybe even better than the Lakers because LeBron's in that mid-30s stage. How
AD's
sharp?
very underestimated.
You know how many years is he going to go before his talent starts to wane? These are two tremendous stars that are going to be leading Houston. So it's difficult. We already picked Houston in our earlier show to be there next year. I picked them with the wild card, which was the Raptors, and we're going to talk about that in a second because the Raptors president had his end of the year conference, which was kind of interesting. So I think this just moves Houston to the top. It just has to move Houston to the top. What happens to Chris Paul? It can matter as well. I mean, just depending on where he ends up and how much talent's around him.
So let's move on.
That'll be very interesting and see what happens.
A couple rumors here is obviously the Eastern Conference is a big rumor because those teams are hungry because that seems way more open right now than the West. They're talking obviously about Miami because Miami went out and got Jimmy Butler.
Yeah.
They got Miles Leonard. Chris Paul would be a nice add there, and honestly, very difficult team to beat. Without Chris Paul, I don't think Miami actually has a real chance to go anywhere.
I agree.
And Jimmy Butler alone. But here's where I'm throwing it out here, and I don't know why it hasn't been mentioned. Maybe it has, and I see this happening. Is Chris Paul should take a pay cut and go to the Los Angeles Lakers. He's best boys with LeBron James. In fact, they hang out all the time. He loves LA. In fact, he played.
That might have been part of the reason for the
maybe
trade.
He played for the Clippers early. Well, the first rumor, by the way, when free agency and the season was over, was Chris Paul getting traded to go to the Lakers. That was the first rumor out of Houston. Then Houston came back, we're not trading the Lakers, we're not trading them, blah, blah, blah. And then this came up, obviously, because of what happened with Kawhi Leonard recruiting Paul George from OKC. So they had to trade Westbrook, essentially, because why keep him? Chris Paul, in my mind, if you're Chris Paul, you get your team to call the Lakers, and whatever the Lakers want to offer you, whatever you got to do to get there, you do it, in my mind. I think you want to go play with LeBron and AD. I think that three-headed monster would be very difficult to stop.
No kidding.
AD, the big man at 7 feet tall, you could take pressure off. LeBron right now is supposed to play point guard. He really shouldn't play point guard, so put him on the wing, you can play point guard. I think it's a great matchup. But I see him going east. The Miami thing is really heating up. Miami's desperate to get that next star.
Well, there was no point in getting the one guy.
There's no point in getting Butler and Miles Leonard if you didn't expect to get someone else to run that offense. So that might be interesting. But OKC, if this was the route you were forced into, congratulations. They've been just racking up the picks and young players. And
as long as you're not too old. You guys all talk about the future, and I sit there thinking, am I ever going to see another win when it comes to our home teams, the Blue Jays and the Leafs? And so, they keep saying, oh, yeah, we just got all these picks, and I'm sitting there thinking, yeah, but we could have won if you just kept all the guys we had. So it'll be interesting to see in OKC how many years it's going to take for them to build the next championship team. But one thing we know is picks by players. They got a lot of them. When they're ready to go or feel they're ready to go, getting a star with those picks will help them without a doubt. If not, they're going to build a young team from bottom up, and that's work too.
They must watch this show because we told the Raptors to go and get a bunch of picks for when LeBron James Jr. was ready to play, and it looks like OKC heard our show
doing that,
and have gone on to that. Speaking of that, that's 2 years down the road. They're already looking towards 2 years
the next
free agency because Kawhi's free, Durant's free, LeBron's free, the Greek Freak is free, and I think it was James Harden was free. So they're already looking towards that, and that brings us to the Raptors and some other
4
teams.
years away, but
the
Greek Freak not as far away.
The Greek Freak 2 years away. So and so are all these guys. No, LeBron's 2 years because he wants to go play with his kids. His kid's 2 years from being drafted. So maybe OKC's looking at that. Hopefully the Raptors look into that. I've heard that they might pursue that in the future. That's why they kept all the young players to build up Siakam, build up Van Fleet. They can still be a good team this year. He might do something at the deadline, but for 2 years down the road to all those free agents, you have a solid pitch. OKC might be down the same road. But in the meantime, Houston was our pick out of the West. I think we're going to stick with that.
Yeah.
Unless Chris Paul goes to the Lakers, I think he should be smart and do whatever he's got to do to go there. Take pay cuts, whatever it is. It's a LeBron-run team, your best buds. You got AD down low to really carry the load for you two. You had a horrible season last year. You don't deserve $34 million in 1 year's pay. So either take the trade to the Lakers or Miami, but in my mind, I'm doing everything I can to go play with my boy in LA.
And you got to think maybe this trade was done for that reason. Even though Houston, they wanted to get the player they wanted.
Let's be clear, the trade was having...
There's no room there's nobody to give from the Lakers to Houston.
Right, but the OKC, the guy had to come out and go, this only happened because we were forced to. They didn't even want to rebuild. They were actually probably looking to add somebody. Instead, they're forced to this rebuild. But yeah, they're completely open to trading Chris Paul. Yeah. Probably just for some more picks. And if you're the Lakers... Really, because you're a star-driven city.
Right.
Get rid of your picks. Who cares? Trade them the next,
It's all about today.
It's all about today, man. You got LeBron. You got AD. It's going to be the most competitive Western Conference
and they didn't get Leonard
ever. You didn't get Leonard.
They needed somebody to be the Leonard in there. And I think Houston wasn't going to trade. Lakers didn't have a whole lot to give to Houston that would matter, right?
That's exactly it.
Because they're not rebuilding. They're trying to win now. So now they got that with OKC. Almost sure this trade was probably made for this to happen because Houston said, hey, you got nothing for us. You go to OKC, you get a star player. OKC moves them to Lakers, gets picked, which is all they're worried about. Or maybe they even get one of the draft picks from this year. And because that was number 4 they had, Lakers, number 4. Yeah. So, decent player there that would be good for OKC to bring in. So maybe we're going to see this happen quickly.
Yeah, and I think it will. And I think, like I said, the other option is obviously the Miami option. But I think the Lakers have got to be in the front. They got to be making some calls, I would think. That'd be your 3-headed monster that you want.
Yeah.
Older 3-headed monster, but at the end, they probably got 2 years anyways before LeBron leaves because he says he's going to go play with his son unless you're able to draft him too. But let's look at the immediate future, which is these 2 years. These 2 years are big for all these contracts, for all these stars, all these aging stars. People don't want to think about it, but we're not talking about many young stars. Greek Freak's really the only one that's kind of youngish. Kawhi Leonard's injury prone at 28. LeBron's up in his 30s. AD's young, but right now he's with a 30-year-old LeBron. Chris Paul will be 34. James Harden's getting up there. Westbrook's getting up there near their 30s. So all these guys need to win now. So if you look at the immediate future, this is where the Lakers can really win, in my mind. And you get to play in the city they all want to play in and their best friends. So that should happen. If not, Miami's a good pick. I think Miami would be smart to do that because you got Miles Leonard and Jimmy Butler. Don't waste that time. I don't know who else you can go out and get. But it'll be interesting. It'll be fast, I imagine. There's no way he's even wearing a jersey for OKC.
No.
But real quick, on a funnier note, was someone posted, we're analyzing the winners and losers of every trade, right? OKC's ultimately won a lot because of the picks they've raked in.
Well, you don't win until the picks come out. They quite often do that. I mean, other teams are getting stars.
A small budget owner, though, he's sitting back going, I'm winning. Well, I got my fans happy for the future.
But you know what? You still, these picks have to turn out. You can still be not a great team 4 or 5 years from now if the picks don't work.
But the NBA's
you traded guys who already are stars.
Exactly. Now, the NBA's a big winner.
Yeah.
You got the league a little bit more balanced. You got all this drama. You got a tough West, a tough East. So the NBA's won. Let's say OKC has won. And then all these other teams are kind of even right now. But the biggest loser is who? It's not a team. It's the fans who bought all these star players' jerseys. And they're all leaving, left, right, center. Someone posted that the other day. But I just bought my son a Russell Westbrook jersey, and he's gone. And you buy your kid a Kawhi Leonard jersey with the Raptors, he's gone.
However, if you're a fan, you had to know who's moving in the offseason. So anybody who just bought a jersey, I don't feel sorry.
No, it was like when at the end of the year, they were saying I bought it in April.
Yeah.
His son got it for 2 months. He's gone.
Still, you have to have known all this free agency was happening. You got to be an idiot to
Westbrook and George were signed contracts.
Yeah. Okay,
for
you're right.
4 years.
Yeah, you're right there. I guess we can go with that one. But you know what? The jersey's more valuable today than it was if he stayed with the team because now he's gone and you got one of the last jerseys. So it's a more valuable jersey today than it was before. But you lose your star.
Poor fans. I mean, you got LeBron, who first of all is changing his number. Yeah. So not only is he staying on the same team, he's switching number 6. We went out and bought a 23 LeBron Lakers jersey. That's over. AD now in New Jersey. I just thought it was funny. The guy just went through a list of all these poor kids who probably bought their superstars jerseys and now they're all useless. I thought that was pretty funny. And then Chris Paul, don't go buy a Chris Paul jersey. He's gone soon. So wait, see where he is.
I will say the one thing though of the real stars like a LeBron. There's history. If you got a Cleveland LeBron jersey, there's all the times he took you to the championship. There's all
but what about switching your number?
Those kinds of things. He just gives you another jersey to buy. Don't forget, fans love to buy this stuff. Changing numbers, changing teams. Actually, the fans still want that jersey because of that player. It's the one thing about basketball, say almost more than other sports, the amount of movement when it comes to free agency. You just have to assume that your star now is going to have several jerseys in his career. That's just a fact of life.
Well, free agency and trades now because there's too much high priced on winning one title, a couple titles, because stars can take you for 3-4 years.
But don't forget,
and then get rid of them.
Trades of stars is like free agency because they walk in the office and say, "I'm not going to play for you."
Well, that's why
might as well be free agency, right?
The NBA has to address their tampering issue. They got a huge tampering issue. The NBA knows it. Now, at the end of the day, the NBA is kind of like, we want to address it, but look what's happening. But I do think it's kind of pathetic that Kawhi Leonard could call up his buddy and go and demand a trade. And what are you going to do? You can't force him to play because he's not going to play well. You might as well trade him. Now, at least you get compensated these days because of the high price you run these heads and the desperate teams who know that if I get 2 stars, I can go win a title. The NBA has that power, unlike other sports. Like if a hockey player goes into men's trade, you can't argue for too much because at the end of the day, he's not going to possibly win you a title guaranteed. But all these players are giving them top 4 regular season position
guaranteed,
and then a second round playoffs, and then arguably possibly a title almost guaranteed. So yeah, basketball has that problem. Although people will say at the same time it's a problem that's so exciting and that's a great thing about this sport. We'll see. But quickly, if you do have a LeBron James 23 jersey, LeBron's promoting math. He said, put an X through it, and you got a LeBron.
Yeah, exactly.
Jersey, so 2 times 3.
And the great thing about basketball, these trades actually matter where they don't matter in so many other team sports, simply because how many players are involved, right? Like, so it's so big. The NBA stays on the front lines. They're geniuses. They're not going to stop this free agency from happening every year. They don't care. They want, and it also promotes, what I do like about it, I don't think there's any team any longer until the next unbelievable superstar comes along. Like the fact that Cleveland was in the finals 8 years or something, whatever. LeBron was there. I was with Miami before that, so 5 years. Warriors have gone at 1, 3 of the last 5, I guess. They've lost twice, Cleveland and us. I like the variety. I like that there's going to be new teams in the finals. I think that's going to be awesome. I think there will be, except in the East where I'm picking the long shot Raptors. And but I think this is so exciting for cities.
And I'll tell you a couple.
Get excited about.
There's always seems to be a lot of stars these days. There's not. I don't think you'll see a LeBron-dominated conference. First of all, I think the Raptors have kind of brought cold cities back into the forefront of willing to go there. Look at all the guys who are willing to go to Brooklyn, New York, Boston, the Greek Freak has stayed in Milwaukee so far. Philly, look at that, right? So I think players are realizing that these fan bases in colder climates actually are beneficial and can arguably get you a lot of sponsors, can really make you huge in the city, and winning a championship for these cities are very important. So they've kind of made a balance of bringing the cold climates back into it, which is allowing the Eastern Conference to be competitive again. But I think when you look at it, there's just so many stars these days that each conference should be pretty well balanced. It's hard to get a conference with just LeBron. There's just too many.
Well, they just don't come often, right? I mean, there's Michael Jordan, then there's LeBron.
No, but I mean, think of the stars. Like, it's just insane. I mean, look at New Orleans.
Yeah.
How many of those guys might turn into something? You got Zion Williamson. And guess what? You're going to have the next 10 years is going to be consistency of NBA players' sons. So you got Dwayne Wade's kid. He's in the draft in 2 years. Shaq's kid. LeBron's kid. All these kids are going to be coming in the forefront. What do they bring to the table? Regardless is, the guys are playing longer, which is allowing older stars to be relevant and still be very, very good, because there's such a disparity in the league that top teams are good no matter what, so they can rest throughout the regular season. All the young stars are on the come up. They have to spread out throughout the league. It's just the way it is. And look at what's happening now. And I wouldn't be surprised if Zion Williamson is off to the New York Knicks after 3 years, unless New Orleans goes on to something special with the young core they got. He'll be gone soon. It's just a great balance now. They got so many stars, young and old, because of how long they can play.
But the
good
thing
is very interesting going forward.
The big thing is for cities that could be struggling along, all of a sudden you can turn their fortunes around with one or two
trade,
signings, right? Yeah. And that's a great thing about the NBA. It can't happen anywhere else. It just cannot. There's too many players involved in the game itself, except in basketball. You only got 5 guys on the court, where that kind of moves can change. So you look at, if you're a Lakers fan, you're going from hell to heaven all in 1 year.
First of all, hell was like 8 years. They had Kobe Bryant and Shaq.
Yeah, but 8 years when you're used to having that kind of talent, it's a long time.
True.
So, I mean, that's the great thing about the NBA. Every year, your city can win.
And here's another reason why.
And have a chance.
Draft picks are floated everywhere now.
Yeah.
So, you might have no chance, but you might get a random pick somewhere in these trades now. So, like you talk about the Lakers. Well, they tried the draft process.
Yeah.
They didn't draft very well. They decided we're going to trade all our picks, all our young guys. Let's just go get some veterans we guarantee can get us close enough. And then now, these teams that maybe didn't think had a chance are getting these picks. Look at New Orleans, OKC in the future. You just never know what these picks end up being.
Yeah.
So because they're getting tossed around too, it's just going to be constant chaos in the NBA, which is so much fun. Like you said, new teams every year. Competitive conferences, competitive playoffs. The regular season will still be a joke, but other than that, it's going to be a fun
playoff, for
wow,
sure.
yeah, fun ride for
always.
the NBA, and it's very cool. Unlike other sports, for sure, not even football can provide this because of the bad offensive line we've shown can beat up a good quarterback. Hockey, not one player can do this. I just can't even think of another situation.
There's no other sport that can turn teams around.
Yeah,
like
and
this.
it's just crazy. Look at the Clippers. Clippers were kind of a joke in LA for all these years. Now they got Kawhi and the Paul George. They're projected to win the title.
Yeah.
Even though LeBron went out and got AD, like
it's crazy.
it's odd. And in the same city, you got two of the best teams. Like it's just really cool.
And let's look at. We don't want to sound like homers, but our team is the champion, so we should get to talk about them. Our president, Najuri, went out and did his end of the year speech, and all he could say is, Raptor fans, don't lose any sleep. We got a great young core here. He's a trading master, so who knows what's going to happen here. But his calming words is, I haven't lost a second of sleep since Leonard left. I advise you to do the same. We know what we're doing. We built towards this team. We made one key trade. Doesn't mean it won't happen again. So, we talked about this in the last. I said that this was my thinking on why I picked the Raptors to still win the East and win the overall championship. They are still, the great thing about the core of the team is all there except for one trade for a major star. And when you just talked about the balance of major stars around this league, whichever team is not performing come playoff time, there's going to be a chance to make a move there. He's going to have all the pieces to make whatever move he needs to make. This young team itself will survive the regular season. And then you came up with one that I hadn't been thinking of, and I think you're right. Out of Milwaukee, what do we think is going to happen 2 years from now?
So real quick, first of all, the reason why the Raptors, we thought the Raptors weren't doing anything because we thought they were guaranteed to sign him. Coming from Nick Nurse and Masai Ujiri, they actually didn't do anything because they knew they weren't going to sign him.
Yeah.
Masai Ujiri said it was pretty clear kind of the whole time by the sounds of it, and even Nick Nurse said that. And arguably they had no chance. And the Paul George Westbrook trade that I got upset about wasn't even like legit, because he says, I know I'm not getting quiet apparently. So that was pretty upfront. Apparently, that's why the Raptors actually looked so calm. It wasn't the fact that they were so calm they're going to get.
Well, it was interesting.
So calm they weren't going to
get.
One
interesting comment he made when asked the question was Kawhi honest throughout the whole process. Yes. He said yes, Kawhi was.
Yes.
His uncle's a real problem for Najuri, and obviously that continued through the whole process.
So let's look at the FAR plan, though, the plan that we have heard and hope is true, and there's been some solid rumors about it, and would not shock me with Masai Ujiri. Is prepping to get Giannis in 2 years. So first of all, where would you be taking from? Milwaukee? Not a hard sell. Toronto's way better than Milwaukee.
Milwaukee, you got to play in a cold climate.
Right.
Toronto's a major city now.
Exactly.
Especially.
Exactly. Yeah. Actually, and stars are loving it. The TV, the ratings, the money players are getting. So Toronto's a huge fan base now. Players have been put on notes. CJ McCollum, by the way, not a big name in basketball, but the second fiddle to Portland's Damian Lillard, says his dream now not his dream, but one of his goals, he'd love to play for the Raptors. Yeah. So there's that. There's KD, by the way. In 2 years' time, you'll know if KD's any good. As like 100% KD, 75%, 50%. He said his team growing up was the Raptors. So anyways, but let's talk about the big kind of question mark here. There's a rumor that they're going to try to get Giannis 2 years. You'd be drawing him away from Milwaukee. I don't feel that's that hard.
That's difficult, yeah.
Secondly, his team is very old around him. It's not a young core. So 2 years' time, most of these guys would be retired. He wouldn't have much young guys around him to look towards the future. If you took him and his brother, because they did sign his brother, which was out of good faith, probably. His brother might be decent. I don't know. If you took him and his brother in 2 years, I think you could easily get him. But the goal is here, Siakam and Van Fleet and Powell take themselves to another level. Because in 2 years, Kyle Lowry probably retire, Ibaka probably retire, and Gasol retire. They'll take these 2 years together, see if they can make it happen. But if not, hopefully, your goal is, if you're the Raptors, Van Fleet, Siakam, and Powell grow, become stars. You call Giannis, go, man, you and your brother, come here. This is in 2 years' time. With those 3 stars, imagine a starting lineup of those 5, assuming they progress the way I'm sure Masai is projecting. Very solid team.
Playing time.
Very realistic, by the way.
And not Siakam was getting a lot of playing time at the end.
Powell more time.
The amount of time they're going to get now is going to certainly they're going to improve. It just is a fact.
So I don't believe it's a hard sell. The only thing is, what is Milwaukee doing those 2 years, knowing that their star is up for grabs in 2 years? I don't know, but as of right now, I like the sell. I like the thought if that's what they're going for. I like the theory that you're saying. Maybe it's a big trade for a star though. Right now, assuming the Raptors are probably in the 3 or 4 seed.
I'll tell you what. If you're looking at Milwaukee and they don't have a great regular season, like they're expecting. He might become earlier via trade route sooner. And that's a possibility.
He's such a core though to that city. I think you have to draw him a free agent. I think the owner's head would be would be chopped off.
We've seen lots of trades that where guys have been way better than him at this stage.
I'll tell you where players are available if they suck. Philly.
Yeah.
Because Philly has a horrible fan base, meaning a great fan base because they only cheer for your win, which actually I love fan bases like that. But if you're doing bad, I can tell you, stars would be flying off the roster if they are not good this year.
They'll hear it.
They'll hear it. So that's a city. I think Boston's a city. If they're no good, you'll see guys flying left, right, and center, including the coach, by the way. Same in Philly. They have fan bases that are pressured. Milwaukee's kind of like a Toronto. They're probably going to be good no matter what, but they love their star. That'd be harder for a GM to go, let's trade our star, because they're selling out arenas because of the star. Milwaukee's not a city where they're going to support their team no matter what. They need someone like Giannis there no matter what. But Philly and Boston, you got to win in those two cities. So those are stars that can be flying left, right, center.
If you think you're going to lose Giannis in
that's the question.
agency,
that's a question.
You get a lot more for him coming up to the playoffs.
You could hose the Raptors of all their veterans if you want to.
And you need to say the same thing. You would say the same thing to your fans. Look we're not likely going to have a team. We've got him supported by older players right now. He's going to leave. We're really thinking this is what's going to happen. We're making this deal because of that reason. As long as it's sound that way and they get enough back, I think it still works. And it depends. Now, if they're in first place like they were last year, they're not changing anything, obviously. But if they're struggling this year and then they get to the trade deadline, who knows what will happen.
Here's why the 2 years are better for the Raptors, though. Because who's Milwaukee going to want?
Yeah.
You're young guys. So the 2 years, I don't mind the wait. I wouldn't mind if Masai could trade a bunch of picks, get a veteran for these next 2 years, kind of at the deadline, and try to win. And then in those 2 years' times, they're all retired, and you got your core of Siakam, Powell, and Van Fleet, and probably a couple of young guys I don't even know. Patrick McCaw re-signed. Yeah. He's actually a 3-time NBA champ. If he got more playing time, we don't know what he could be. So I would actually rather see that. I'd rather see you go get a veteran. I don't care if you trade the next 8 picks away. Go get a veteran, help this team right now, because in my mind, the East is still open. Because the one thing the Raptors have over every team is what? No drama. Yeah. There's no drama with our team. You need one star, I think, to push you over the level. I'd rather see that for the next 2 years than let them all leave due to retirement and on a glory note of maybe a championship or good last 3 seasons of their career. Then you have a core of McCall, let's say Siakam, Van Fleet, and Powell. You go get Giannis and his brother, and you build around that unit. I think that could be very possible. Toronto has opened the eyes to the NBA world. I think you'll be surprised what might come of it. I don't know CJ McCollum's contract, but he talked about how much he loved it. I think you might see something happen here. Masai Ujiri, if anything, is a risk taker and kind of a genius when it comes to these trades. Yeah. He might be a genius for waiting it all out and just sticking with the team he has with no drama, and these teams kind of beat each other up. And next thing you know, you're in the Eastern Conference Finals against Milwaukee again.
Yeah, he could easily be that for sure. There's no questioning what he's able to do.
Oh, man.
So we'll wait and see. He said Raptor fans don't lose any sleep over
he's got something up his sleeve.
Oh, for sure. He spends his whole life making sure he's got something up his sleeve. So we're going to look forward to seeing that. As we always say at the end of every NBA show.
God, we're exhausted.
So hopefully they take a month off, get the training camp, we start talking again. But you never know when an exciting trade's going to happen. We'll be back.
They make football look boring.
Yeah, when that occurs, we'll be back to talk about it. I think all the trades, oh my God, it's just unbelievable. Except we got Chris Paul out of OKC now that's got to be traded. So
yeah, he's got to go. So
one more is going to happen for sure.
One more.
We'll be back when that happens. Otherwise, hopefully we can enjoy the rest of the summer and wait for NBA training camp to come back. It's exhausting to follow them all. And we're also trying to follow all the other sports that are actually playing now. So anyway, we'll look forward to that. But it's always exciting in the NBA, and of course, having been the current champions, exciting for us.
Let's just say one last thing. Still go for Steph Curry to Toronto, right?
Yeah, I'm still there. I think everybody would say you're out of your mind, but I'm telling you, maybe he's the mid-season guy. If Warriors are not playing well, who knows, right? Yeah, you never know. Anyway, I'll hold on that one simply because if it happens, I'll look like the biggest genius in sports. And if not, no one will even remember that I predicted it. Anyhow, that's it. We'll let it go for now, and we'll be back whenever the NBA's back.